The following is a Gaming Palooza Empire special presentation. This video may contain mature language and graphic content. So here we are playing a hidden gem on the PlayStation 1. Oh yeah. Got the Rockstar logo right there. This is before Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. Have a little nice introduction right here, and for those of you who have played this game before, you probably definitely recognize that introduction. The hidden gem that we're playing right here is Thrasher Skate and Destroy. Now, when you think of skating games for the PlayStation, you immediately think of Tony Hawk, and all those Tony Hawk games for the most part. I'm suspecting that this is probably a little introduction movie right here. It has a little skating videos, which was quite the popular thing back in the day. Especially the fisheye effect. Check that out. And this right here is the main menu. And this game is pretty damn cool. Let's check it out. These are your characters that you can actually choose. I actually did own this game back in the day, and I used to play the hell out of it. I used to always pick this character named Roach. Yeah, you can actually change his name if you don't like the name. Reson, but for now we're going to start off at the hometown industrial stage, and let's check that out. And it pretty much gives you like a little objective. I don't know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pretty much score 5,000 or more in order to achieve going to the next stage. And, this game right here, this is what it looks like. At first, that's one thing I really like about the game is the physics. You can actually throw yourself off the skateboard and fling yourself around like a ragdoll. That's pretty freaking awesome. I do remember that back in the day. You can actually hold down the L2, R1, whatever top buttons on the controller you want, and it just flings around like a ragdoll. It's pretty awesome. And check this out. Yeah, how you like that, you son of a bitch? Ooh, break your neck. That's probably my favorite part about the game. The game is just pure awesome. Well, with all seriousness, the game is actually pretty cool. I haven't played it for years, so for me, I'm playing it like shit because I haven't played it in like forever. But once you get hang of the controls, because the controls are quite a bit different than Tony Hawk, the game's actually really good. So here we have a half pipe right here. This is where you can actually probably get some points if you don't break your ass trying. That's basically what I just did right there. It's one of those games that takes quite a bit of practice, so you're not going to be able to like really jump into it right away and do what you, as you can see right there. So yeah, this game probably doesn't look the greatest, but I'm telling you, if you pick this game up and play it, you're going to have fun with it. Another thing that's really cool about this game is the music. It has a really, really good soundtrack. So I'm more of a fan of the soundtrack on this game than any of the Tony Hawk games. It actually has a really, really good soundtrack. This reminds me of something that you would see in an indie game nowadays. Like, you just skate around and break your freaking back and your arm and, this is freaking fun to play. I mean, check this out. You have to learn the controls. You really do. And I tell you, I haven't played this in years, but still, it's fun to play, even if you're not taking it serious. So as soon as I think of Hidden Gem on the PlayStation 1, this is the game that comes to mind. There's absolutely no way that this game right here does not make a Hidden Gem list on the PlayStation. And if you've seen that introduction before, you know what this game is. Oh yeah, this game right here. The little character, caveman looking guy with the pink hair, Tomba. Look at that. What a great little introduction right there. This game was like, it might have been my all-time favorite PlayStation game. To be honest, this game was awesome. And then we have a little digitized looking little guy right there. And this has a little bit of, how should I say, a little bit of role-playing element, but with a lot of platforming element to it. So it's a really weird hybrid game that very, very enjoyable to play, and I would love to see this series come back. There's actually 2 Tomba games. Unfortunately, I guess the developers fell apart. They just went their separate ways, or the company just never took off. And forgive me if I don't play the greatest, because I haven't played this game in forever. There is a lot of rigging in this game. And this is pretty awesome. It combines a little bit of 3D polygons with 2D graphics, which is really cool. I'll tell you, this is the best platformer game on the PlayStation, bar none. This is it. Again, there is a lot of reading in the game, so prepare to get your glasses out. And it's worth it, because this game is awesome. You can break all these little purple things right here. Check out the 3D-ness. Look at that. And then, of course, they always had a little cutscenes in between certain parts of the game, which it really makes the game stick out. It makes the game really, really enjoyable to play. I mean, this is probably... I love the graphics in this game. This is probably my favorite PlayStation games in terms of, like, enjoyable graphics. Just look at it. This is really, really enjoyable to look at. I'll consider eye candy on the PlayStation. And it's very, very rare that you get eye candy and a very, very good game at the same time. This is it right here. I'll tell you, if you never played this game before, this is something you have to play. And this little tornado thing is going to take me to the other side of the fence right here. This game is definitely amazing. And here we have another hidden gem on the PlayStation. This is definitely a game that made my list. One of my all-time favorite PS1 games. You're about to see it in a second. Yeah, we'll skip over all these little fancy introductions right here. And for those of you who have played this game before, you might recognize this little CGI introduction. If not, it's a game called Roll Cage. It is perhaps one of the best racing games on the PlayStation 1. Definitely a hidden gem. Not so many people actually got a chance to play this game. It was definitely very, very underrated. Alright, so we're going to be playing some Roll Cage right here. And the whole concept of this game is you have like a little vehicle right here that actually has big enough tires that you can actually flip around all the way around. They're like, you can drive no matter if you flip your car over or not. It's pretty cool. Here we are playing Roll Cage. This game is definitely a hidden gem on the PlayStation. It's one of my favorite games of all. Look at that. Super fast paced. Let's check this out. Well, I remember, I still own the game, by the way, but I remember when I first played this on a demo disc, I was like, holy shit, I gotta buy this game. And I still own it. I own the second. There's two Roll Cage on the PlayStation, just 1 and 2. And they're both really, really good. And you also have little special powers, so kind of like Mario Kart in a way. You can actually shoot different powers off. And check that out. You have little missiles you can blow up your enemy. The graphics are freaking awesome. I'm going the wrong way, so I have to, you know, turn myself around right there. And you can actually drive up the freaking walls in this game. Check that out. It's super fast-paced. And, you know, to play a super fast-paced racing game, there's probably only a few available on the PlayStation, and probably Wipeout or something like that. But in my opinion, this game's, like, way funner to play than Wipeout. And you may call me crazy, because I know Wipeout's the game for PlayStation if you want a fast-paced racer. It's, like, the game to go to, but in my opinion, I think this game is definitely the better game to play. And then we have this game right here. This game is, let's see if it comes up in a second right here. Okay, so this game right here is a very, very over-the-top game. And you would never expect this to be a hidden gem on the PlayStation, because it's a complete product placement. It's nothing but advertising Pepsi. That's all it does. But this game is so good. I mean, it's unbelievable. I can't believe I'm saying this, but let's check it out. I'm going to show you. This is Pepsi Man on the PlayStation. And this released over in Japan. So, unfortunately, over in, I guess, Europe and over in North America, unfortunately, we never got this game. But Oh man, it's a shame that we never got it, but if you ever import a game for the PlayStation, this is the one you want to import. I mean, this is the main menu, and as you can see, you have a little spinning Pepsi can right there. I mean, that right there is pretty cool. Now, before you actually start the game, you have a little video right here. Now, this guy is a fat son of a bitch. He has like a whole fridge full of Pepsi and his potato chips. The Pepsi Man is right here to save the day. He's basically apparently a superhero over in Japan. Was very, very popular. I don't know if he exists anymore over there, but there we have our stereotypical Pepsi driver in the Pepsi truck. He's talking to Pepsi Man, giving him instructions on, hey, wait a minute. I'm missing some Pepsi out of my truck. I need to get my Pepsi. Please help me out. I need to make my deliveries on time. And there's Pepsi Man to the rescue. He's going to go get the Pepsi. And this is the game right here. It's the most freaking ridiculous game ever, but it's actually fun as hell. Look at this. Bam! Get out of my way. Oh shit, I got hit by a car. Alright, so here we are collecting Pepsi for that Pepsi truck. Because that guy, he doesn't have enough Pepsi to deliver. We got a garbage truck throwing garbage at me. What the hell is going on here? You gotta jump over the bush. You gotta trespass on people's property right here. This game is so ridiculous. Look at this. Got manhole covers popping out of the ground with some bum living inside the manhole cover. You got slid underneath the truck right here. This is like an early parkour game. This is ridiculous. I mean, look, oh shit. I broke someone's house. I better get out of here before I get sued. I gotta run through this little area over here. Bam! I mean, what the hell? I'm in a trash can. What did I tell you? This game is so over the top. You got the really, really cool song in the background, Pepsi Man. Everything in every single thing about this game is freaking awesome. The music, the character, the freaking graphics are really cool. I mean, look at this. I love this game. This game is definitely a true hidden gem on the PlayStation. When you know what? I never actually played this back in the day because I never knew it even existed. But I played this game recently, and I'm like, holy crap, this game is awesome. I have furniture being thrown at me. I mean, look at this. Here we are again. We got Slay. Oh man, that was close. Alright, this is the end of the level right here, and there's like quite a few different levels for this game. This game is pretty damn amazing. And now it's time to drink a Pepsi. We have WrestleMania, the arcade game on the Sony PlayStation, is also available on the Sega Saturn, but I think this time around they believe the PlayStation version was the best version of the game. And this is definitely one of my old school favorite wrestling games right here. This game is awesome. You have a pretty simple roster, not a whole lot of wrestlers, but just enough that it's actually fun to play. You got Doink the Clown, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. You know, you see it all right here. Even Lex Luger was in the game still. He wasn't even in WWE at the time. Somehow he made the game. And this is pretty close to the arcade version. I think the DOS version of the game was probably the better version of the game, but for a console version, this is the best right here. Now, I would usually say that the Sega Saturn version was the best, but unfortunately, if you do a comparison between the PlayStation version and the Sega Saturn version, for some reason, the developers were a little sloppy on the Saturn version. I'm not sure why, but the shadows on the rope were even missing on the Saturn version, which I don't get. Yeah, this game plays like Mortal Kombat with wrestlers. I mean, this is awesome. Like that, look at that. What the hell is that? That's freaking crazy. And this is a great game to play right before you watch WrestleMania in a couple days. As long as you're not getting squashed by Yokozuna, because that hurts a little bit. You might not get back up afterwards. So another thing I like about the game is the little entrance that they have right here. You walk from wrestler to wrestler. That's actually pretty creative. Pretty cool. Everything's all digitized, so even the fans in the audience look all digital looking. Look at that. There's a big guy in the front row that's wearing the white shirt right there. He always looked like Big Show to me for some reason. Yeah, so this game is pretty fun. It's challenging. If you like Mortal Kombat and wrestling, this is the perfect combination right here. The graphics are awesome. They have a nice retro look. And everything's all digitized. Looks awesome. It's definitely a very, very cool wrestling game. There's a MAME ROM, arcade ROM, available of this game as well. That's probably even better than the PlayStation version. This is the actual arcade version. You might want to check that out as well. If you have a Sega Saturn, you can also play the Saturn version. It is not perfect, in my opinion, but still plays good. And that is WrestleMania, the arcade game on the PlayStation. And it's available on Saturn, and it's available on 16-bit consoles as well. What the hell is Undertaker doing? What the hell is that? What the hell is going on here? Activision. Whatever that says. Here we are playing Power Move Pro Wrestling. And some really, really cool music in the background. Yeah, bang your head to that shit. Yeah. And on the main menu you have Go, Results, Best Bouts, and Load. Pretty strange main menu. There's really no explanation of what's what. 1 player, 2 player, 12-man gauntlet. We have championship mode, PW, which I'm assuming that's like a pay-per-view mode. They have a tournament, they have a demo match. And here you can pretty much choose various different venues, time limit. I guess this might have been a New Japan Pro Wrestling game at one time, but they when it came over to the United States, they took out the New Japan license and they turned it into Power Move Pro Wrestling. And that explains why the logo in the center right there with the bulldog looks so similar to the actual round New Japan Pro Wrestling logo that usually has a tiger or a lion in the center of it, as you can see here. And I guess when it came over to America, it turned into a bulldog somehow. That's kind of strange. And here is the selection of bizarre wrestlers we have here. Let's check out the first one here. The Judge. And he was wearing black and white. Danny McGee. The very, very, very generic looking guy right there. He has green, neon green pants. Or undies, whatever you want to call those. Commandant. Zombie. Chain Gang. Malibu Mike, which I believe is the guy I used to pick the most in this game. This is actually the first wrestling game I ever owned on PlayStation. It was really, really dirt cheap when I bought it. Or actually, I believe my mother might have bought it for me. But yeah, it was the first wrestling game on the PlayStation that I actually owned. Lance. Kind of reminds me of AJ Styles when he was younger. The Egyptian, which is the Egyptian. Area 51. I can't relate Area 51 to this guy at all, but yeah, his name is Area 51. Orange, because his knee pads are orange. El Tembler, because he has, he's a Mexican. King Og. Yeah, because, yeah. And here's the best part of the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for power slamming pile drives?
Yes.
Clotheslines and body slams, pulverizing neck breakers and combinations. Are you ready to rock?
This game had the best
Wrestling fans,
ring announcer
it's
ever.
time to make a power move. Power move. Pro
So as you can tell right
wrestling.
away, one thing that's very, very impressive about this game is the ring announcing. It pumps you up before the match starts. Very, very detailed. And very, very comical.
235 pounds. The otherworldly Zombie. In the red corner.
You gotta be kidding me. He has a fan?
6'2", 257 pounds. He's the guy who gets all the ladies and some of the men. Let's
Whoa!
do lock.
Get out of here.
Referee Rockburn Sully. Begin.
Alright. So here we are playing Power Move for Wrestling. Apparently, the guy I selected gets all the ladies and some of the men, which I'm not too proud of, but it is what it is. And yeah, this game right here, I forgot how to play this game. It's been like forever. But yeah, the controls are similar to like an AKI wrestling game. It's actually pretty damn good. It's very, very limited moveset. There's not really that much you can do in this game, so it kind of reminds me of WCW versus NWO World Tour on the N64 a little bit. And as you can see in the background, the stadium graphics, in my opinion, they look much, much better than the last two wrestling games I've reviewed, Nitro and Thunder. The crowd actually looks better too, in my opinion. This game came out in 1996, and it puts even some of the WWF wrestling games to shame as well in terms of graphics. As far as the arena and crowd goes, there's no weapons. It's pretty much just a straight up wrestling game. But yeah, you can go on the top rope. Check this out. Ready? Bam! The elbow drop. Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah! You have a lockup going on here, and he's knocking me down. What's it? What the hell? Headlock. Yeah, it's just a basic wrestling game. You can't expect too much out of this game. It came out really, really early in the PlayStation's life cycle, and it was actually a pretty damn good wrestling game. It wasn't bad at all. Wrestling game. I'll probably say that this game simulates pro wrestling more than actually being an arcade style, but with just a little bit of comical sense of humor to it. It was heavily overlooked once the first WCW and WWF games arrived on the PlayStation. Get ready for the sharpshooter. Bam! How you like that? Tap out. Break his arm. Break his arm. Bam! Ha 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 ha! Are you gonna kick my ass now? What the hell? That's breaking my arm. What? Get off of me! Oh yeah, I forgot. He gets all the ladies and some of the men, so he's probably enjoying this right now. Another interesting thing about this game is when you push pause, there is like no pause menu. You have to actually hit select and start to exit out of the game. It's pretty weird. Not quite as weird as Lance, but yeah, it's still pretty weird. Alright, let's choose somebody that, I don't know. Let's choose somebody else. El Templar versus the Egyptian. As you can see here, this is actually the alternative view that you can actually choose for perspective looking down at the wrestling match. So, ay caramba, get out of here. Oh my god. Talk about corniness.
The Mexican earthquake, El Temblor.
See how playable it is from the second perspective view, and instead of being closer to the action, you feel like you're in the nosebleed seats. Kind of hard to see. I need binoculars. That music, background music, kind of resembles like Duke Nukem a little bit. What the hell's going on? I'm getting violated. What the hell? Get off of me. You don't want to mess with the Mexican earthquake. Yeah, take that. Bam, slap you in the face. The sound effects are comical, like a kung fu movie almost. What the hell's he doing? Did the slapper... Take that, bitch. Yeah, how you like that? Take that, you bitch. How do you like my palm across your face, huh? I just bitch slapped him like 20 times, and he did nothing. I could kick him, I could slap him again. I just slap him all day long. He just stands there. What a dumb AI. What a dumb AI. He likes getting bitch smacked. You drag him around the ring a little bit. Pick him up. What the hell? Oh my god, there's actually a move going on here. But this whole match is going to be nothing but bitch smacking.
7 feet tall.
Holy shit, that's a big guy. 400 pounds.
A monster of biblical proportion.
Better hope this guy doesn't bitch smack, because he'll probably kill you. Classic ring announcing. This game has awesome ring announcing. I love it. I'll see what the hell kind of damage this guy can do. 7 foot tall and 400 pounds. So, what the hell? Bam! He's already dead. Ain't no getting him. Oh, that's it. You wanna no sell? My 400-pound ass, you son of a bitch. This guy's gonna leave with some broken bones. You don't mess with 400 pounds of anger. You can see at this standpoint, you can see the crowd kind of looks a little ugly from,
7, 8.
Get off me, you bastard. So over from that view, the actual crowd looks super pixelated. Look at that. Your mother and Minecraft had a baby, and out came you. Right there. Look at that. Yeah, the crowd kind of looks a little ugly from, you know, that point of view. You can see it's pixelated. He just killed himself, just so you know. What the hell? It's making me humble. Get off me. You know what the Iron Sheik says about that move? This match is actually pretty... Whoa! He did the rock elbow, but he missed. How the hell did he miss? I was right there. So that would be Power Move Pro Wrestling on the PlayStation. I haven't played this game in a very, very long time, probably close to 20 years. Yeah, this game is quite the interesting, simplistic wrestling game on the PlayStation. It came out very, very early in the PlayStation's life cycle. Don't expect much from it. But I believe it might have been the first 3D polygon wrestling game on the PlayStation. And gotta get credit where credit's due. This game's actually, for a wrestling game that's 3D polygons back in '96, it's actually pretty good. So here we are playing WCW Nitro on the PlayStation. And here's the title screen right here. Look at that. All the fire right there. It looks just like the real program, WCW Nitro. Look at that. Now, WCW Nitro was released on the PlayStation in '98. And around that time was probably when Warzone, WWF Warzone came out, and there was already plenty of wrestling games on the N64 that were obviously better games. Now, this game right here didn't quite get the respect that it deserved because it was arcade style. Now, first, let me be the first to point out the cons. You know, the things that are not so good about this game. And, you know, the first thing I would like to mention is the audio. While you're playing the game itself, when you're actually wrestling in a match, the background music gets annoying after a while. And also, the commentators basically say the same shit over and over and over again. And it gets old after a while. I never knew Alex Wright could actually powerbomb anyone. I've never seen him do that before. Wait, what the hell is he doing? What the hell was that? He actually threw Scott Hall over the side. Now he's dancing. Another con about the game is the limited moveset. There's not really a whole lot of moves for each wrestler. And some of them are basically the same. But again, it's an arcade-style wrestling game, so it's not a simulator. To be honest, it's actually appropriate for an arcade-style wrestling game. That clearly explains why Alex Wright is doing power bombs, because usually he would not be able to do something like that in real life. But yeah, arcade style. Another thing is that when the wrestlers grunt, it actually sounds like they stole the sound effects from Doom. I mean, listen to this. It doesn't sound quite the same, but I know for sure that I've heard that grunt sound in a shooter before. Maybe it was Quake, but it definitely sounds quite familiar. Now, the graphics I'm not going to complain about too much, but the only thing that you can really complain about is the crowd. They pretty much just stay dead still, and they don't move, and they pretty much make the same ambient crowd effect throughout the whole game, as well as taking pictures. They take a lot of pictures, as you can see there, all those camera flashes. What the hell is that? Alex Wright threw Eddie Guerrero over the top rope, and Eddie Guerrero got up like nothing happened. Did you see that? Yeah, that's another thing you can expect from this game, is you can beat the shit out of somebody and they'll get up like nothing happened, because it's arcade style. I know a lot of people complain about that, but hey, it is what it is. And also, there is no creative wrestler in this game, unfortunately. That would have been an interesting feature. However, let's take a look at some pros about this game. First of all, the graphics on this game, I'm a fan of. I think the character models actually look pretty decent. And the various different arenas and the surroundings on each arena actually look not bad, for the exception of just the crowd doesn't like react, or they just stay dead still. You know, that's something I really can't complain about, because if you played Attitude or Warzone, it was basically the same over on their games too. If not worse, because on Warzone it looked like the crowd was a slanted piece of shit, pixelated looking mess. I mean, look at that. I mean, at least on Nitro you had the crowd taking pictures, but even on Warzone, the one guy taking pictures in the crowd, the camera flash looks like crap. I mean, look at that. But the actual ring itself, the stage, the actual barriers and the mats outside the ring, they actually look legit. They look pretty good. Now, the animation in the game is pretty fast. The characters actually move around fast. Wrestlers move much faster than the actual real thing on real TV. But again, I'm not going to complain about that because that's actually an arcade-style wrestling game, so to each its own. The game is what it is, and it's actually doing a pretty good job for an arcade wrestling game. Now, another bonus I like about this game that's a pro, in my opinion, is that when you select your characters, you have bonus video clips of each wrestler. And they actually give you a little video message before you actually play the game, and I think that's actually pretty awesome for wrestling fans, such as myself. Now, unfortunately, there's no entrance for each wrestler in the game. There's no entrances at all. But instead, you have a loading screen that has graphics for each wrestler on the main roster, which is pretty awesome. I used to play the hell out of this game back in the day, and I owned WCW Nitro and WWF Warzone, and I played both pretty much equal. I definitely vividly remember playing Nitro with my cousin quite a bit. Now, one thing that is most important and heavily overlooked about WCW Nitro is the unlockable features in this game. The main roster that you see is limited, but there is a lot of characters that you can unlock in this game. Like, probably 3 times the amount of what you already have. It's insane. As you can see here, these are some of the unlockable characters, and they look like absolutely from a crazy fantasy land. You have a snowman, you have a ghost, you have a Santa Claus, you have a praying mantis, you actually have a T-Rex dinosaur, you have an actual bear. It's crazy. You actually have another couple of cool features here also, where you actually have the yellow and red Hulk Hogan, you have the classic Macho Man, the classic Sting, you have all the color commentators, you have the developer team actually put themselves in this game. This game is awesome with the full roster unlocked. Not only is there unlockable roster, but there's unlockable arenas that are like way over the top. I mean, check this out. You can actually do the YMCA dance in a disco level. What wrestling game have you ever seen that? I mean, this is awesome. Look at that. There's outdoor stages. There's stages inside of a honey's bee's nest. There's all kinds of stuff in this game that's like way over the top. There's one particular stage that's a graveyard bonus stage that's unlockable where it's kind of creepy. There's actually if you watch closely, there's a little kid that stands off to the side. And I always wonder, who the hell is that kid and why is he standing there? It always seemed very creepy. I mean, look at that. And then you had an actual backstage area where you actually had a wrestling ring. You had to actually wrestle in. It wasn't really a backstage area, but if you look carefully, there's actually gateway computer boxes in the background. That's actually pretty funny. There was an actual stage for hell, but if you want to really experience hell, wrestle at the circus with this clown. Look at that clown. That'll give you nightmares. And if you can't afford the LSD simulator for PlayStation, which costs an arm and a leg, don't worry. Just buy WCW Nitro. It has its own LSD simulator. Check that out. So overall, this game certainly wasn't perfect, but it sure was fun. And definitely sold quite a bit. To the extent of where WCW Thunder released afterwards. Now, we'll save that for another video. But yeah, this game was, in my opinion, awesome. And before we take a look back at WCW Thunder, make sure you watch WCW's Nitro's review first. 10 months after WCW Nitro released on the PlayStation, Thunder released. That's actually not that big of a gap at all. It's only 10 months. You figure that they would wait at least a year. Now, WCW Thunder was basically WCW Nitro but with improvements, and the major improvements are the following. Now, the crowd actually finally moves in this game. You can actually see crowd animation. In Nitro, there was no such thing. It was pretty much a cardboard-looking crowd. Although, some of the crowd animation is a little bizarre. WCW Thunder also added a steel cage match, and that's actually quite awesome because that was not in Nitro. Unfortunately, even though you could imagine that this is actually a really big bonus for a wrestling game, this particular steel cage match wasn't really the greatest because, as you can see, the whole arena was empty. And the cage match itself, it wasn't really the greatest. It was quite mediocre, and that's the reason why no fans showed up to tonight's show. You now have the ability to use weapons, which is actually pretty fun in this game. Now, there's no blood, but Using weapons in this game is actually not bad at all. Nitro, unfortunately, there was no weapons. WCW Thunder now has video entrances, which was missing from Nitro. You had cool loading screens on Nitro, but now you have really cool versus loading screens featuring both superstars. And there appears to be a hell of a lot more match types in Thunder versus Nitro. We can actually do quite a bit more with this game. The only cons that I can think of on this game would be the audio is pretty much the same as Nitro. You have the commentators repeating the same stuff over and over again.
Power bomb! Power bomb! Power bomb! Power bomb! Power bomb!
And you also have the same background music. Might be a little bit different, but basically it displays over and over again, quite loud. Now, despite having the same crappy audio, and maybe an ugly-looking audience and a bad steel cage match, there is some pros about this game. Now, one of them, right off the bat, as mentioned before, is you can use weapons, and the weapons are actually pretty awesome. Another pro is just it's improved controls. The controls were a little bit more improved versus Nitro. It has a very, very impressive roster once you unlock everybody in the game. Like, it's definitely, out of all the wrestling games I've played, the roster in this game is actually quite impressive. And the roster features even the Nitro girls. You have a lot of WCW wrestlers, you have NWO wrestlers, you have the Four Horsemen. You have plenty of the Cruiserweight wrestlers, which is awesome. You have also color commentators, managers, just about everybody in this game. And of course, just like Nitro, you had crazy over-the-top characters that were added into the game as well. And just as a bonus, you also have a whole bunch of developer team personnels that were added into the game. The biggest pro, just like Nitro, was the unlockable content. Whether it was the wrestlers or the actual stages themselves, the unlockable content is insane. It's like a good, big, huge portion of the game, because once you unlock all the characters in this game, you have probably over 90 wrestlers, and some of these characters are way, way over the top. Only in WCW Thunder will you see a actual horse legend a cow to death with a steel pipe. Yeah, take that, you son of a bitch. Or how about the Native American Indian that tried to actually murder a cowboy with an office chair? I mean, look at that. What the hell? And what about that stupid pig that thought it was a smart idea to pick up a CRT television and show that product of incest what he really looks like? Maybe the little pig thought he was going to run away, but let's take a look at what really happened. He got the slop kicked out of his pig ass. But oh no, that's not the worst of it. And then he got violated. Much like the disco stage on WCW Nitro, Thunder has its own little dancing stage. As you can see here, we have like a starfish character dancing with a wireframe character. I mean, look at that. Ain't that fancy? I bet you'll never thought you'll see a gorilla beating the shit out of an astronaut in space, but surprise. In WCW Thunder, it's possible. And hell, if you want to, you can even have a rooftop brawl. The most ugliest looking background textures of all time. Look at those buildings. Look at that. As you can see here, you have a skeleton and you have a computer-looking character with a monitor on his head and an actual hard drive for a body, which is actually pretty cool. Tonight on WCW Thunder, we have a scuba diver who dives 100 feet underneath the sea to kick the shit out of a giant praying mantis. But the praying mantis nearly kills him. Instead, don't miss tonight's WCW Thunder. You can even wrestle in WCW's variation of hell. I mean, look at this. This is what they envisioned hell to look like. Look at that. With a wrestling ring. And with Tony Schiavone repeatedly murdering you with an electric guitar. And then you have this stage right here called Extreme. That's right, as in Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW. Except this is WCW. And if that ring looks familiar, well, you're right. It was used in WCW Nitro. I mean, check this out. Same exact ring. And of course, you had many pay-per-view stages as well. Now, as a result, WCW Thunder was pretty much a slightly improved version of Nitro with the addition of weapons and a horrible steel cage match. Now, some of the unlockable stages in WCW Nitro I actually liked better. I think they were actually more polished. For those of you who have not seen the Nitro review that I did, please go watch it and you'll see. Now, by the time that Thunder came out on PlayStation, you had the AKI games released on the N64, and you had probably a few WWF games out on PlayStation, so yeah, this game, of course, was considered mediocre, and it wasn't perfect, so, of course, this was definitely probably the last of its kind. It wasn't nearly as popular as Nitro, but it was a pretty good attempt at trying to be better at what Nitro was before. Unfortunately, it didn't quite make it. And that would be a look back at WCW Thunder on the Sony PlayStation.